This is the Quo-Cast. My name is Jamie Dyer, and I'm here via the medium of Skype with Joakim, all the way from Sweden, who is a member of Sound of Status, and I've known about him for years because he used to do YouTube and things like that, and we have many listener questions for him. But first, let's say hello to him and ask, how did you first get into Status Quo?
It was actually my dad, I think, that introduced me to them when I was little. He used to play a lot of Status Quo stuff, and then I basically got hooked after that. I can't just say one thing, but I remember borrowing Live Alive Quo from my aunt. And after hearing Caroline on there, I was just, hooked, as I said. I couldn't stop listening to them. Then eventually got the videos of them and then started to go to concerts and, started back then.
The energy on Live Alive Quo is quite infectious, isn't it?
Yeah, I love that kind of energy. I know some people blame it being too fast and whatnot, but I kind of like both of that. I like the energy of it. Sometimes you want it faster. Sometimes you feel like having more of a groovy and I like both fast and then a bit slower sometimes, but I love it.
You obviously play the guitar. When did you start doing that?
When did I first pick it up? I think I was around 6 or 7 when I got my first electric guitar. It was a Falcon, I remember, a white Strat, but it was like one of those smaller ones, smaller sized electric guitars. So it was back then, but it wasn't until it was me and my friend. We wanted to get guitar lessons, but when I was little, you had to do the flute first, like learn notes and stuff. That's gone now, luckily. But he eventually got a spot where he could learn guitar by a teacher. And what happened was he got to the lesson. Then when he came home, he went to me and he showed me what he showed him, sort of thing. Like, first song, Smoke on the Water. And every week I learned a new song because he has been to the teacher. But eventually I got to be with the teacher as well. But that's how it started out.
What was the first Quo song you remember playing?
I think it could be Caroline, or it could be the solo for Don't Waste My Time, I think it was, or Whatever You Want, some other songs. But I remember just trying to figure out the solo, Don't Waste My Time, because I used to love it, still love it. But I think that was one of the first ones, Don't Waste My Time, I think.
It's amazing, really, for me, because I don't know whether you remember, but many years ago, I was on YouTube, and so were you, and we were doing very similar videos, and there were quite a few Quo guitarists around that time sort of doing videos right at the beginning of YouTube, and lots of people really got into it, certainly when you played.
And I remember your videos as well. I remember because every day I used to check like what's new with Quo today, searching Status Quo and then look today, and then sometimes I saw your videos or some other guitarists sometimes as well. And I really remember that. It was very few. It was you and I and some more, just maybe 5 more or something. I remember that.
Most of them, I think, have ended up in tributes, but your band isn't technically a tribute, is it? It's more of an originals band with a Quo styling. Yeah,
it is, and we all have different influences. I love a lot of AC/DC and Airborne and stuff like that as well, and you try to get all the influences into it, because if you're gonna get somewhere, you can't just play songs that sounds exactly like Quo, because it's been done, if you know what I mean. So I'm trying to do my own thing with it and just contribute all my influences in a way.
Well, yes, but in particular your music with Sound of Status has become quite big in the Quo community thanks to your appearance at a couple of conventions. How did that come about?
I remember when it started out. First one was Mac Convention in Scotland. I think, what year could that be? 2015 or 16. It was, I know Mac, Terry, he loves me to say that. He loves to brag about this, but he was the one who contacted, I think it was one of the people working there saying you should look these guys up. And then, we got the first gig there. And then Yvonne, who has the big Quo Convention that is next month, I think. She was there and she was standing with her back, not thinking like too much what band could this be around. She was just like standing looking at another way, and then when we started playing she was like, what is this? And then she was, after the gig, she came up to us we really need to get you to the Status Quo convention at Butlin. So, and we said yes instantly. And yeah, she's been great with us ever since.
Well, from the footage that I've seen from the big Quo convention, you really went down a storm. And of course, you released an album in that time as well, didn't you?
Yeah, it was about at the same time. So it was perfect timing with everything. And I think that's how it is a lot in the music business. It's about timing. And when we started playing, I don't know, it was just magic. It was the whole room was like a big energy. Everyone was singing along, and it was just, I couldn't believe it when I was standing there. It was absolutely magic. I loved it. Everyone was coming up afterwards, wanting autographs and photos. Now, and I was standing there like, what? You want my autograph now? But yeah, it was just bizarre in a way. But yeah, I loved it.
Do you ever get compared to Rick at all? Because you do have a very similar style and look.
No, never. All the time. But sometimes I can't help that I have blonde hair and it's curly-ish like him. But okay, on the convention I was dressed up just like him with the double denims and everything, and I love wearing that anyway. But I think that was also a lot why people were so, because Rick had just passed. Then there was somebody looking like a young Rick up there, and people got, they they like to see that as well. So I've got both sides. Some has been very negative to it, and some has been very positive, and some is trying to compare, say that I should be instead of Richie Malone, and the opposite. And I just don't like to be compared like that, because yeah. But okay, I take it as an honor, of course, that people say I look like Rick, I play like Rick, but I do this Francis Rossi soloing a lot as well. So I'm trying to do both.
Yeah, which do you prefer, rhythm or lead?
It's really a mood thing to me, because I love doing both. I don't think I could do a show just doing the rhythm. I could, of course I could, but I love playing the solo as well, because there's another way to express yourself, I think. And I love to, dig hard into the rhythm and all that. So yeah, I love both. I couldn't say I prefer one or the other.
Now, I have a couple of questions relating to the band Sound of Status. Have you got any new material in the pipeline?
We have some material, but we have right now we're having a bit of a break. Not like it's a break because we need to get the fire back. Sometimes you just need that break to get a fire back. And I have another project now with the drummer Henrik from Sound of Status as well. We are starting a band now called Dirtbound, which is going to be more based on hard rock stuff, but still got the Quo influences and all that. But with Sound of Status, and also Mickey has moved a bit north of Sweden, so it's hard to get time for rehearsals, gigs, and everything. So at the time, we are still a band. We still do gigs here and there, and we probably will do another album in the future. But right now, it's just we need a little break from it all to get the fire back again. It's been like a lot for us. Just in a couple of years, we did a UK tour. We went to the conventions 2 times, and we are all overwhelmed. I think it's got a bit ahead of us. I don't know. I'm not sure, but yeah. So that's that's the state at the moment. We're having a little break. It's on ice, so to say.
And would you be interested in playing a future convention?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we all want to do that. It was one of the best gigs we ever done. So absolutely.
Well, there's one thing I'm not sure what the audience is quite like in Sweden, but they love it in the UK, don't they?
Yeah. That's the thing. We are more popular in UK than in Sweden. It's a lot of different. We could never pull off a tour like that. I don't think and Yvonne helped us a lot with that as well. The tour, and Yvonne and Paul. But anyway, no, in Sweden it's not as big. In Sweden, it's more they want to see cover bands like doing different a mix with covers, party rock covers and stuff like that. But in England, it's England and Scotland and UK, it's a lot better for us.
There's a couple of questions here, one of which is asking about the pedals that you'd recommend for a beginner guitar, specifically in rhythm.
Yeah, I don't know what style of music, but I'm guessing it's Status Quo, AC/DC, stuff like that, classic rock things. I would just say try out some overdrive pedals. not so much the distortion pedals, because if you want a good tight rhythm sound, you don't want it to be too fuzzy. If you want it tight and a bit cleaner overdrive pedal, I would say. It's hard to just say one, because it depends on what amp she's using and all that, because some amps work with some pedals, some works with some others. But if I should recommend a distortion pedal, I think it's a distortion pedal. I have one called Red Rocks. It's just called Red Rocks. It's a small company from somewhere, I can't remember, but they are really good actually. They sound like an old Marshall GMP kind of thing. So I could recommend that, even though it's a distortion pedal. Usually I wouldn't recommend that, but yeah, an overdrive pedal if something else. And if you want to boost for solos, just get a tube screamer or like a volume pedal you can put in the effect loop as well. That would boost the signal better. If you not have a lot of headroom in the amp, of course.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because Quo's sound in particular is quite clean, but there's all these different pedals and things in play, isn't there?
Yeah, that's how it is. And a lot of gain the Quo uses is preamp gain. When the amp is cranked. The Vox AC30s are in a case or something behind the stage. They are cranked in that case, so they get a natural good overdrive. And then mixed with the Marshall, of course, it's like a nice British cocktail, if you like.
Yes. Now, in terms of Quo, do you have a particular album that you enjoy?
Well, the live album from it's recorded 76 December, but yeah, live 77. Yeah, that's the one I would say my absolute favorite. That one and Live Like Quo. But if you mean like a standard album, that's a hard one. It's probably Pile Driver or Quo, I think.
On the Level's pretty good, isn't it?
I love On the Level. I love the crunchiness of the drums in that one. For one thing. No, but it's a mood thing for me. I can't say just one album. I think it depends what kind of mood I'm in, I think.
Yeah. Now, obviously, when you played live at those conventions, you had to mix up original tracks of your own with Quo tracks. How did you decide which ones to play from Quo's catalogue?
Well, with us, we love to surprise a bit, and we love to do stuff that not everyone does. Okay, we could play safe and do whatever you want, Caroline, all that stuff. We still love playing those as well, but that's more for if you're out at night playing, and then the audience just know those kind of songs. But at the Quo Convention, you can take more turns, so to speak. And yeah, we just went into Long Leg Linda. I've always loved that song. It's a bit too keyboardy or whatever you should call it. But I remember I wanted to play that song because I love Rick's vocals on it, and we just tried it and it worked instantly. It was great. And then we did some other stuff as well from If Gets That Heat. I can't. What was the song we did? Yeah, it was one more I think we did. But we started out with Caroline, the intro Caroline, and then went into Long Leg Linda. So people thought we were doing Caroline, but we went into Long Leg Linda, and people were kind of shocked with that. But it's so fun to see their faces.
Well, I do think that Long-Legged Linda is one of the underrated songs, not just from that album, but from Quo's material in general, because Andy Bowen really nailed it. I mean, it's a new version of something that he did previously.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And the energy that is present is wonderful. So you say you're working on a new band, as it were. How much will that differ from Sound of Status?
Well, if you take a song from Sound of Status, like Get It Up, the first song of the album, it's more of that kind of stuff. More airborne-ish, more screaming vocal. Not screaming, but, AC/DC kind of vocals. And it's more heavier blues rock, I think. It's hard to describe, but it's turning out to be something like that.
How often do you practice on the guitar?
To be honest, not a lot actually. I should do a lot more. Lately, I've been focusing a lot on my vocals. Trying to learn to sing like Bruce Dickinson from Iron Maiden and AC/DC. I like to evolve my vocals a lot. I think I'm at the moment I'm in pace with my guitar. I know what to do there for reaching my goals. So that's why I think I'm not practicing as much. I know I should do more because yeah, but sometimes I'm working on the days, and you do other stuff as well. But yeah, not that much anymore. But I should do more. I need to do more.
Well, it is always important to remember that people like yourselves have day jobs as well.
Yeah, it's not all bling bling.
No, if people wanted to find out more about what you're up to, either Sound of Status or otherwise, where would they need to go?
They could go to I have a musician page on Facebook. And they could also, of course, look at the Sound of Status page, but I want to do a shout out for my new project that is just starting out, and that's called Dirtbound. So if you search for Dirtbound on Facebook, I think you should find the new page as well with the new band. It's a 3-piece at the moment.
So is that guitarist, bassist, drummer?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, me on guitar, vocals, and then a bass player on backing vocals, and Henrik on drums and backing vocals.
That's a lot to take on, isn't it? Being kind of rhythm and lead.
Yeah, it is. We'll see in the future. Maybe we'll find a rhythm guitarist, but I really love to do the frontman's work. I like that. I feel like that's what I'm supposed to do, sort of thing. That's the same thing in Sound of Status. We started with Mickey in the middle, and then Mickey said, "I think it's better you are in the middle and fronting," because he feels like he wants to step back a bit. He doesn't want to have the pressure. But I love that. I love to be in the center of the attention, if you know what I mean. Or like Rossi said, unsecure little show off.
And I suppose that must go back to when you used to do the YouTube videos as well, because you are front and center doing those.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. It's just one of those things you feel like it comes natural doing, if you know what I mean. And I don't want to waste that. If you just, I have another band that I'm playing as well. That's more like a cover band. That's when I can take a step back and breathe, And then I have the other projects where I can be in the front rocking, and yeah.
You're a busy, busy man, it seems.
Yeah, this year has been really busy with gigs almost every weekend.
I do wish you all the best for the future, and thank you so much for coming on the Quo-Cast today.
Always, Jamie, always. Just contact me if you want to do it again.